Hi everyone, it's Mio, and today I have an exciting tutorial for you. I'm going to show you how to make these really cute crochet kitty ice creams. I designed these little kitty cats to be extra small. They're in a small, tiny little soft serve ice cream cone, and I think they turned out really adorable. So this video is a little bit long, but I'll go through each step on how to create these, and hopefully you can recreate one at home. For more videos like these, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and let's go ahead and get this tutorial started. You're going to start off with a crochet needle. The one I'm using is 2.75 millimeters, but if you have a different size, it should be fine. I usually just pick whichever one I have available. And you're going to need some yarn in the color of the ice cream you want, so I'm going to start off with some pink yarn. I'm going to start by making the classic round ball. So if you already know how to make the ball, just go ahead and fast forward through this part. But all you're going to do is take the yarn, wrap it around the needle, place the needle underneath the yarn and pull through the hoop. Place the needle underneath the yarn and pull through the hoop again. And if you let go of the yarn a little bit and tighten it up, you'll notice that you have a nice little slip knot on top of your crochet needle. You're going to expand the chain, so just take the needle underneath the yarn and pull through, and you have one chain. Do the same thing again and you'll have a second chain. So now you're going to place the needle through the very first chain you created, and it's going to take a little bit of nudging, but as you can see, I finally got my needle through the hole. And then I'm going to take some yarn and pull through both the loops that you see on my crochet needle, and I have what is a really tiny circle. To expand the circle, you're going to take your crochet needle, pull some yarn through and make another chain, and now I'm going to push my needle through the center of the circle I created, take some yarn and pull through the center of the circle, and you'll see two little yarns on the needle. Take some yarn and pull through both the loops, and I made my first knot. I'm going to repeat this process, so put the needle through the center of the hole, grab some yarn, take some yarn and pull through both the loops, and I created a second chain. You're going to do this at least 5 to 6 times, and the more chains you put through the center of the circle, you'll notice that the knots fan out to form a round, larger circle. To close the circle, I'm going to take my needle and place it through the first knot I created, grab some string, pull it through the first knot, and pull it through the loop that's already on my needle. As you can see, I have a smaller circle that is larger than the first one I began with. Alright, so let's go ahead and make the circle larger. I'm just going to pull some string through and make a chain. Then I'm going to do a simple knot again. So I'm putting my needle through the first knot I created, pull some yarn through, and take some yarn and pull through the two loops on my needle. And I'm going to go through the same knot again and put a similar knot through the exact same hole. And as you can see, there's now 2 knots in one. So again, I'm going to put my chain through the second one, put a simple knot in, and instead of going to the third, I'm going to repeat and go through the second chain again. This will help put more knots into my circle so it will become larger. And so for each knot, I'm actually putting in 2 new ones. Once you're done going all the way around, you just close the circle like you did earlier. Just put your needle through the first knot, grab some string, and pull through all of the yarn on your needle, and your second row of knots is done. And you're pretty much going to do the same thing for the entire ball. So I'm just making my third row, and what I do is I expand every third or fourth knot. So when I expand every third or fourth knot, you can notice that my circle actually has a slight curvature to it, so it's making a nice round ball. So you're just going to keep on crocheting all the way through. I just expand every third or fourth knot or so, and this is what my circle looks like after I've done it so many times. To make my circle smaller, what I'm going to do is skip a knot now every 4 or 5 times. So right now I'm just putting in simple chains, and instead of going to this next one, I'm going to skip that knot and go ahead and make regular knots throughout the circle. I'm going to put about 4 or 5 normal regular knots, and for the next one I'm going to skip it. So instead of going to this next one like I am here, I'm going to skip it and just continue to crochet like it's normal. And by doing this, you're going to make the ring smaller and smaller, and you'll end up with a ball. Alright, so before I close everything up, I'm going to put some stuffing inside this ball. And since the bottom of this ball is going to be the ice cream cone, I'm actually not going to finish it off. I'm going to leave it with a giant hole here. I'm just going to cut off the extra yarn, pull the extra yarn through the loop, and just stuff the yarn inside the ball, and the top part of your ice cream is almost done. For the bottom part of the ice cream cone, I'm going to start off with the 2 rings that I showed you how to make with the ball earlier. And to make it, I'm actually going to make a 90-degree angle, so I did a simple chain. And what I used to do is, as you can see on the rim here, there's like a braid. And I used to put the needle and take both the loops through, but instead I'm actually going to take the back part of the braid and form a regular simple knot. So again, I'm going to do this and demonstrate it one more time. Instead of putting my needle and grabbing both of those strings, I'm actually going to take the back part of the braid and do a simple knot that I've been doing earlier. I'm doing no expansions here, and by not expanding it, it's going to form a 90-degree angle and form a cylinder shape. So I'm just going to go all the way around this circle, and for those who want to know how large a circle is, it's actually only 2 rings. So once you're done, this is kind of what it looks like. I'm going to close up this loop like I have been earlier, and you'll see what looks like the beginning of a cylinder shaped cone. After the first row, you're actually going to crochet normal regular knots. So as you can see, for normal regular knots, I put the needle and it's underneath both of these 2 little pieces of string that forms the braid that you can see in the bottom. So as you see, I put my needle and there's 2 of them, grab some string and form a regular knot. But when I made the 90-degree angle, I only took the back part. So I'm just going to crochet normally, and as you can see, here's 2 rows. I want my ice cream cone to be really short and stubby, so mine has 4 rows of knots. After you crochet 4 rows, let's go ahead and make the part that juts out of the ice cream cone. Instead of making a regular knot, I'm actually going to take the front part of the little braid, as you see here, and form a regular knot. But I need this to be a really large circle, so instead of going to the next one and doing 1-to-1 knots, I'm actually going to expand it. So just to demonstrate, I'm going to put my needle in the front part of the braid and do a regular knot. And instead of going to the next knot, I'm going to put my needle through the exact same hole and put another knot in the exact same hole. So there'll be 2-to-1 again, and this will fan out the rim so that you can form the second part of the ice cream cone that you normally see. So once you're done closing up that circle, you'll notice that it fans out into a nice little round circle like so. And now I'm going to make the cone jut upward. So I'm going to make a simple chain, and instead of doing the normal knot that I've been doing, I'm going to take the back part of this braid like I did earlier. So I'm going to take the back part and do a simple chain, no expansion. So all of it is 1-to-1, and this is what it will look like after your first row. So now I'm going to put a second row onto it to make it a little bit thicker, and I'm just doing the regular routine knot that I've been doing the entire project. And when you're all done, this is what your ice cream cone looks like. I know it took a lot of time and a lot of changes, but with practice, for sure, it will come to you like second nature. So I'm going to cut off the extra yarn, and I'm going to tie on some pink yarn, the brown yarn, because what I'm going to do is form the ice cream layer that kind of juts out near the part where the ice cream and the ice cream cone meet. So all I'm doing is simple knots all throughout the rim of the ice cream cone, but what I'm doing is I'm putting in 3 knots, sometimes 2 knots, for each single knot that's on the ice cream cone. And this will form a lot of pink yarn all around the rim, and it kind of forms a nice little wavy texture to it, like so. The more knots you add to each one, the more wavy it becomes. So if you don't want your ice cream cone to be this wavy, just form lesser knots. So put only 2 or 3 per knot instead of doing 3 or 4 in each one. I'm using a hot glue gun to put everything together. If you want to crochet them on together, you absolutely can. It's just so easy to hot glue everything. I just decided to use a hot glue gun. I also made some small tiny little ears, just regular crochet knots, and I also hot glued these onto the top of the head of my ice cream cone like so. For the face, I actually cut out a white piece of felt, and with some black sewing string, I went ahead and sewed on a tiny little nose and a little mouth. If you want to use fabric paint and paint one on, that's absolutely something you can do, or you can use regular yarn and sew on a face. You can do that as well. It's just, I think this comes out really neat and really small, and you can have finer details when you sew something on instead. For the eyes, I'm just using regular animal eyes. I bought a whole bunch at eBay, but you can get them at your local craft store, and I also hot glue these on. For the blush, I'm using a regular makeup palette, and I'm using this nice bright pink red kind of eyeshadow and just placing it underneath the eyes so that it gives it a cute little blush. If you want, you can even place it in the inner parts of the ear so it creates a two-tone color ear. It kind of looks like a teddy bear right now because the ears aren't that pointy, so what I'm doing is I'm gluing some black sticks to form the whiskers so it looks more like a kitty cat. I actually cut these off the back of my eyes, my animal eyes, and hot glue these onto the cheeks, but you can create them out of polymer clay if you like. And that, guys, is how I made these really cute kitty ice cream cones. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. I thought they turned out really, really cute. For more videos like these, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you haven't already. And do check out my social media sites, Twitter and Instagram. I actually give you guys a little more updates as to future projects that are coming up and some updates on my life. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck and have fun crafting.